For the last 2 weeks, I stopped treating Grok 4.5 like a toy. I use it for real work, every single day. Backend development, React UI, bug fixing, refactoring, even database work. After using cloud models for months, switching to Grok felt surprisingly different. Some things impressed me, some things annoyed me, and after 2 weeks I think I know exactly when I would use Grok and when I definitely wouldn't. So if you're thinking about trying Grok 4.5 in Cursor, this video might save you both time and money. When Grok 4.5 appeared in Cursor on July 9th, I decided to use it for almost everything. Not just one interesting prompt, not just a coding challenge. I wanted to know how it performs during a normal workday. I work on a real web application and gave it all kinds of tasks. Writing backend APIs in C#, building React components, explaining existing code, generating unit tests, refactoring, fixing bugs, even writing SQL queries and stored procedures. After almost 2 weeks, I had a pretty good picture of its strengths and its weaknesses. The biggest surprise wasn't that Grok writes good code. Most modern AI models can already do that. The biggest surprise was its speed. It feels incredibly responsive, even for long prompts. I was used to Claude taking its time. Sometimes I'd send a request, wait, check my phone, or even go make a cup of tea. With Grok, I barely had time to look away before the answer appeared. That changes how coding feels. You stay focused, you don't lose your train of thought, you don't interrupt your workflow every few minutes. And honestly, after a few days, going back to slower models felt strange. Another thing I liked was its versatility. It handled backend C# work well. React UI generation was also solid. It understood existing code quite well. It wasn't perfect, but I rarely felt like it completely misunderstood my request. For everyday programming tasks, it was very dependable. Now let's talk about the problems. The biggest one was SQL. It could write SQL queries, it could write stored procedures, but compared to other models I've used, the queries often weren't well optimized. Sometimes they worked, but they weren't the kind of SQL I'd confidently ship without rewriting. So for most database work, I still preferred writing or optimizing SQL myself. Actually, if you found an AI model that's really good at writing Microsoft SQL Server queries, let me know in the comments. I genuinely like to test it. The second issue is something that isn't unique to Grok. Almost every coding AI does this. The code looks correct, everything compiles, nothing immediately looks wrong, but somewhere inside there is a tiny mistake. One incorrect variable name, one missing null check, one incorrect property mapping. For example, Grok once generated code that mapped database results into a C# object. Everything looked perfect, except one property name was slightly wrong. The application still compiled. The code looked clean, but that tiny mistake would eventually become a bug. That's why I never blindly accept AI-generated code. The faster the model is, the more carefully I review the output. AI writes code quickly, but reviewing code is still our job. After using Grok every day, I also learned a few tricks that consistently improved the results. First, don't ask for everything in one giant prompt. Break large tasks into smaller steps. For example, first ask it to analyze the existing code, then ask for the implementation, finally ask it to review its own solution and look for edge cases. Second, give it context. Instead of saying write this feature, explain how your project is structured. Mention the framework, architecture, naming conventions, or coding standards you are using. The more context you provide, the better the code usually becomes. Third, use AI as a reviewer, not just a generator. After Grok writes the code, ask questions like, can you find possible bugs? Is this thread safe? Are there any performance issues? Would a senior developer change anything? Very often it catches improvements in the second pass that weren't there in the first. That extra minute of review can save hours of debugging later. So, will I continue using Grok? Yes, but probably not for everything. Right now, while the discount is available, I'm happy using it for almost every task. Once that ends, I'll probably change my workflow. For routine coding, cheaper models still make more financial sense. For larger features, long refactoring sessions, or bigger coding tasks, Grok is definitely one of my top choices. For short but difficult problems, I may still use other premium models depending on which one fits the task best. For me, it's not about using one AI for everything. It's about picking the right tool while staying within a monthly budget. There is another model I'm really looking forward to trying. Kimi K3 is expected to arrive in Cursor soon. On paper, it looks like a very interesting competitor to Grok. As soon as I get enough real experience with it, I'll make another honest review just like this one and compare them side by side. So if you enjoy practical AI coding reviews based on real work instead of benchmark charts, consider subscribing. If you already used Grok 4.5, I'd love to know your experience. Did it impress you or disappoint you? Let me know in the comments. And also visit my website. The link is in the description below. There are a lot of practical advices for developers there. See you in the next video.